चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी, जय गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरवनचारी, यमुना तीरवनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा माधव Madhava Radhe. Jai Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Radhe Shyam. Jai Nrsimhadev Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jai Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Nanandi.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Purushottam Prabhu. Ravipati Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you?
Yes. Thank you, Satish Govind Prabhuji, for allowing me to introduce Prabhuji. And I thank all the devotees who have joined today for the Friday, 5th February class. So it is my privilege and honor to introduce Prabhuji. So Prabhuji is very well known in Avtari Desh, but for the purification of myself and for all the newcomers, I would like to introduce Prabhuji. So His Grace Parishit Prabhu is a doctor by profession, and he's a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He started his journey while he was in college in Bombay, 1996, from the hostel where he got involved, and he took initiation in 1998 during Narsimha Chaturdashi. And Prabhuji is working as a senior radiologist in Ahlia Hospital in Avtari Desh, Abu Dhabi. So Prabhuji is very known for his nectarian discourses in Avtari Desh, and he is specially conducting ISKCON disciple courses for all the new devotees and shelter and initiating devotees, and also is conducting Bhakti Shastri courses and Bhakti Vaibhav courses in his house and facilitating all the teachers and all senior Vaishnavas, Maharajas to his house. So we are very thankful for Prabhuji to remove time from his busy schedule. And today the topic is Garlands of Prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, Life and Teachings of Satyavati Muni. So thank you, Prabhuji. We will welcome Prabhuji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji. Over to you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. His Grace Parishit Prabhu, you will start the class.
Prabhu, you are muted. We are unable to hear your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Prabhuji, we are not able to hear you.
Close. Now are you able to hear me?
Fine, Prabhuji.
Voice is very
Excellent.
low.
Again, we are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Prabhu, no.
Prabhuji, I think when you shift it, voice drops down.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातः सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। Okay, so I would like to share one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam today, and then we will continue with our discussion on that topic. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 24th chapter, verse number 60. Let's start with Srimad Bhagavatam obeisances. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam 8.24.60. Avataram Hareryo Yam Kirtayedan Vaham Nara. Sorry, we'll take another verse 61. Just 1 second. Okay, we'll take verse number 61 and then later on we'll take 59 and 60 also. Pralaya paya siddhatu supta sakter mukhebhya shruti ganam apanitam pratyupadat hatva ditijam akathatyo brahma satya vratanam tam aham akhila hetum dhimmaminam natosmi. Okay, word by word, I will just read out. It won't be possible to recite. So I will read out the word by word translation and then translation in purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pralaya Payasi, in the water of inundation. Dhatu, from Lord Brahma. Supta Sakte, who was inert because of sleeping. Mukhebhya, from the mouths. Shruti Ganam, Vedic records. Apanitam, stolen. Pratyupadat, gave back to him. Hatva, by killing. Ditijam, the great demon. Akathyat, explained. Yaha, one who. Brahma, Vedic knowledge. Satyavratanam, for the enlightenment of Satyavrat and the great saintly persons. Tam, unto him. Aham, I. Akhila hetum, unto the cause of all causes. Jimma meenam, appearing as in pretending to be a great fish. Natahasmi, I offer my respectful obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who pretended to be a gigantic fish, who restored the Vedic literature to Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma awakened from sleep, and who explained the essence of Vedic literature to King Satyavrata and the great saintly persons. Purport. Here is a summary of Satyavrata's meeting with the fish incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu's purpose was to take back all the Vedic literatures from the demon Haigri and restore them to Lord Brahma. Incidentally, by his causeless mercy, the Lord spoke with Satyavrata. The word Satyavratanam is significant because it indicates that those on the level of Satyavrata can take knowledge from the Vedas delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever is spoken by the Supreme Lord is accepted as Veda. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta Krid Vedavid, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the compiler of all Vedic knowledge, and he knows the purport of the Vedas. Therefore, anyone who takes knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, or from Bhagavad Gita as it is, knows the purpose of the Vedas. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo. One cannot understand Vedic knowledge from the Ved-Vadratas, who read the Vedas and misconstrue their subject matter. One has to know the Vedas from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Matsya, the Lord's Fish Incarnation. Okay. Before we go ahead, I would also like to read verse number 59 and 60. So let's read verse number 59. Satyavratasya rajarsher maya matsasya sharanginam samvadam mahadakhyanam shrutva mucheta kilbishat. This story concerning the great King Satyavrat and the fish incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is a great transcendental narration. Anyone who hears it is delivered from the reactions of sinful life. Okay, let's read the next verse, number 60. Avataram harer yam kirtayedanvaham nara sankalpastasya siddhyanti sayati paramam gatim. One who narrates this description of the Matsya incarnation and King Satyavrat will certainly have all his ambitions fulfilled, and he will undoubtedly return home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I am audible now, no Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we first of all discuss the verse number 60 first, which is the last verse in 8th canto, 24th chapter, entitled Matsya Avatar. So today's topic is, as we know, the life and teachings of Satyavrat Muni, and tomorrow his prayers will be discussed. So I'll be touching upon Satyavrat Muni's life and the Matsya incarnation basically. So in the 61st shloka, the entire summary of the Matsya incarnation and Satyavrat Muni's dealing is described. So after that, we read the 59th shloka, Satyavratas Rajarshemya Tasyas Sharangina Samvadam Mahadakhyanam Shrutva Muchet Kilbishat. So before we go ahead with today's discussion, I would like to tell the audience what will be the benefit which we'll get by attending today's and tomorrow's class. So all of us are interested in the fruit, what we'll get after anything we do. So that's why I thought better we'll discuss that before starting the class itself, I share you that what is the result of attending this discourse we are going to get. So in the 59th shloka, the benefit for the shrotas are described. So this story concerning the great King Satyavrat and fish incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is a great transcendental narration. Anyone who hears it is delivered from the reactions of sinful life. So in this verse, the benefit or the full stuti for the shrotas, the hearers of this narration, is mentioned. And what is it? That it is delivered, all the person, anyone who hears it is delivered from the reactions of sinful life. And in the next verse, text number 60, it is said, Avtaram hareryo ayam kirtayedan vaham nara sankalpastasya siddhyanti sayati paramam gatim. One who narrates this description of the Matsya incarnation and King Satyavrat will certainly have all his ambitions fulfilled, and he will undoubtedly return home back to Godhead. So in this verse, the Falastuti for the Pravakta or for the speaker is described. So this is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam and Lord's narration, that everyone is benefited. The speaker is benefited, the audience is benefited. Anyone who participates in the discourses of Srimad Bhagavatam and Lord's narrations, pastimes, everyone is benefited. So this is just to encourage everybody that please participate attentively, and I should also speak attentively, and audience should also speak hear attentively. Then everybody will be benefited. So with the ambition to please Sri Guru, Gauranga and Vaishnavas, we'll try to briefly discuss the pastime of Matsya Avatar and Satyavrat Muni today. So how does this chapter begins? So actually Parikshit Maharaj starts this chapter by asking Shukdev Goswami to explain about the Matsya Avatar. And he says that I have heard about the Lord taking this incarnation as a fish, his first incarnation. And he says that Matsya or fish is actually a very abominable form. So why did the Lord took this form? Amongst animals also, the species of fish is considered to be very lower. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukdev Goswami that please explain to me about Matsya Avatar. And then Shukdev Goswami answers that as to Parikshit Maharaj's question, why did the Lord incarnate? First, he gives a very general answers that why the Lord incarnates every time on this earth, why he takes different forms, and why he does so many pastimes. And very similar to what we have learned in Bhagavad Gita, Shukdev Goswami replies, like in Bhagavad Gita, we know that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam hi dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyam. So whenever there is a decline in religion and a rise in irreligion, then the Lord incarnates. And then he also says, Paritrana hi sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So to deliver the pious people and to annihilate the miscreants, the Lord incarnates, and to establish the principles of religion. So very similar to this, Shukdev Goswami is quoting as an answer to Parikshit Maharaj also here. And he is telling the Lord is Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Hitaicha. The Lord is very merciful to the devotees and to the cows. And for their welfare, he comes again and again in this material world. And then he goes on to describe about the reason for Matsya Avatar in particular. Why did the Lord took this particular form of a fish? So he describes that what happens is Brahma, we know that Brahma has got also 100 celestial years of life, and he has got a day and he has got a night. And in the night when he goes to sleep, there is devastation. So what happens is that at the end of Brahma's day and one particular millennium, Swayambhuva, where Swayambhuva Manu was ruling. So when Brahmaji, he falls as he feels sleepy at that time, the Vedas were emanating from his mouth. And as he was feeling sleepy, there was a great demon by the name Hayagriva. And this Hayagriva demon, what he does is that he steals the Vedic knowledge from Brahmaji. So this was the power of the demons of the ancient times. We can't imagine how somebody can steal from somebody's mind. We know that, okay, somebody can steal somebody's possessions, physical possessions as of now. But in the previous ages, the people were so powerful, the demons were so powerful, they could steal even something from your mind. Probably at that time they didn't have this patent rights. So, so the demons could steal others' intellectual property also. And this Hayagriv demon, he stole the Vedas. And of course, as Brahmaji fell asleep, there was devastation. And to protect the Vedas, somebody has to come. And the Lord's purpose, as we discussed from Bhagavad Gita and Shukdev Goswami's narration, is that whenever there is fall in religion and rise in irreligion, the Lord incarnates. So Vedas are the basis for the whole dharma, and they are the Lord's instructions. They are not different from the Lord. So the Lord himself incarnates, and he takes the form of a huge fish. Matsya avatar, that is the first avatar of the Lord, because that is the apt form. Because there is inundation, everywhere there is water, and therefore it takes the form of an aquatic animal. It takes the form of Matsya avatar. He kills the demon Hayagriv and he saves the Vedas. And when Brahmaji awakens from the sleep, he restores the Vedas back to Brahmaji. So this was one of the reasons why Matsya avatar took place, why the Lord incarnated as Matsya avatar. So this happened in the period of Swayambhuva Manu, and then Shukdev Goswami goes on to describe, but then there was a second incarnation. The fish incarnation took place 2 times. So just like we know that even Varaha avatar, there were 2 Varaha avatars. One is Shwet Varaha and other is Neel Varaha or Rakt Varaha. And interestingly, even Shwet Varaha, it took place incarnation during Swayambhuva Manu, and then the Rakt Varaha's incarnation took place during Chakshusha Manu, which is the 6th Manu during the time of Brahma's day. So Shwet Varaha also he incarnated, and he basically saw that during the creation, when Brahmaji wanted to create, he saw that practically when he was busy meditating, the earth and other lower planetary systems are inundated with water, and the earth has gone down. And now Swayambhuva Manu and Satyavrata is there, Satrupa is there. They are ready to procreate, but then there is no place for them to procreate. So Brahmaji meditates what has to be done, and again Lord Vishnu comes as a rescue to them, and he takes the Varaha avatar, Shwet Varaha, he picks up the Mother Earth and places him back in its position. So that was the Shwet Varaha. And then later on, during the time of Chakshusha Manu, again, now this time the Lord incarnates as Varaha avatar, but this time he kills the demon Hiranyaksh. As we commonly know, that Varaha avatar came to kill the demon Hiranyaksh. So that was the story about the Varaha avatar, that how some avatars, they come twice or thrice, maybe, whatever. So similarly, the fish incarnation came 2 times. This first fish incarnation during the Swayambhuva Manu, it came to kill the demon Hayagriv, restore the Vedas, and give it back to Brahmaji. Then what happens is during the reign of Chakshusha Manu is the 6th Manu during the day of Brahmaji. What happens, there was a great king by the name Satyavrata Muni. And he was a very great devotee of the Lord. And the Lord wanted to show a favor to him. He wanted to show him the devastation Leela, and he wanted to show him his fish incarnation. So the Lord, what he does is that although during Chakshusha Manu, there was no scheduled devastation as such at that time, and it was still the day of Brahmaji. But because of the will of the Lord, Brahmaji feels little sleepy. As sometimes during the daytime, we feel sleepy and we want to take a short nap. So by the desire of the Lord, by the will of the Supreme Lord, Brahmaji felt little sleepy, little drowsy. And as he went to sleep, so this short nap of Brahmaji is described as night of Brahmaji by the different acharyas like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and other Sridhar Swami and all. They comment and they try to explain to us that somebody might question, like, Chakshusha Manu was during the day of Brahmaji, so how this devastation is taking place. So it is sometimes very difficult to understand with our mental logic and reasoning the different incarnations and pastimes of the Lord as mentioned in Bhagavatam, because they don't follow a particular chronological order also, and it may not make sense to our logical mind. But still the acharyas, they give their commentaries, and with their help we can try to gain some understanding in all these different pastimes, why it is happening like that. So they describe that this short nap which Brahmaji was having during the daytime, That is described as the night of Brahma, and a partial devastation takes place during that time. And as the partial devastation takes place, then this Matsya Lord again comes as Matsya Avatar and reveals his darshan to Satyavrat Maharaj. So what exactly happens is that during the reign of Chakshusha Manu, this great pious and a devotee king by the name Satyavrat, he was ruling. And one day he was a very, very austere person. He was a very, very austere devotee, and he used to subsist only on water. So it is very, very difficult austerities to survive only on water. But this devotee, he was doing like this to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one fine day, he goes to this Krithmala river, and as usual, he's offering his oblations to the Lord. He picks up a small handful of water in his palms, and when he lifts up this water in his palms, at that particular day, what happens is a small fish also comes in his palms. And when he sees this fish, he again throws back the water in the river along with the fish. So when he throws back the fish in the river, this Krithmala river, then the fish starts speaking to the surprise of Satyavrat Maharaj. The fish starts pleading to the Satyavrat Maharaj in a very innocent, childish manner, as like how when somebody is in great danger and he sees somebody very strong and powerful and you want to take shelter of him for protection. So you start pleading. So similarly, this small little fish, he starts pleading to King Satyavrat. He tells that you are such a great king and Kshatriya, and I have taken your shelter. I came into your palms. I have taken your shelter. Please don't reject me. Please don't throw me back in the water, because there are different aquatics, big, big fishes and others who will easily kill me and eat me up. So please protect me. So King Satyavrat, he didn't know who this fish was. Obviously, as a Kshatriya, as a king, he feels sort of, okay, I can give protection to the small little fish. Let me offer protection to the fish. So what he does is that he takes this fish and he takes him to his palace. And there he puts him in a small jug of water so that the fish can happily play there and survive there. But to his surprise, Satyavrat Maharaj's surprise, what happens is that the next day he gets up, he sees that the fish has grown very big, and the fish again speaks to Satyavrat Maharaj that this small water jug is very small for me, and it's not comfortable for me. Please take me to another water body where I can comfortably live. So Satyavrat Maharaj takes that fish from the jug of water and puts the fish into a small well. So again, very mysteriously and very surprisingly, this fish starts growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and in a moment it fills up the entire well. And it again tells Satyavrat Maharaj that no, this water body is very small for me. I'm very uncomfortable. I cannot move myself properly. So please find some bigger reservoir of water where I can play around easily. So Satyavrat Maharaj takes that fish from the well and he puts him into a larger pond. And again, to the surprise of Satyavrat Maharaj, in a matter of minutes, this fish grows up and fills up the entire pond. And then again, he makes the same request to Satyavrat Maharaj that, oh king, I am very uncomfortable here. Please find a reservoir of water which will not fall short for me. And in this way, Satyavrat Maharaj takes him to the biggest lake, but there also the same thing happens. Then finally, Satyavrat Maharaj decides him to take him to the ocean. And as he is putting the fish back into the ocean, now the fish again tells Satyavrat Maharaj that, oh king, please don't put me back in the ocean, because there are big, big aquatics, big, big powerful sharks, and they will kill me and eat me up. So now the king is bewildered actually. And he realizes that, of course, by this time, he realizes that this fish is not any ordinary fish. And he starts a dialogue with the fish. He tells that, my dear sir, you have grown up so fast, so big, in such a short span of time. You are definitely not an ordinary soul. And I think you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead yourself. So please reveal what is the purpose of you appearing like this and doing this pastime. And at that point, the fish, the beautiful fish, he speaks to Satyavrat Muni and he tells that, yes, I am Vishnu only, and I have taken this particular form just to show mercy upon you, because you are my devotee, and I wanted to reveal my Matsya avatar to you. I have taken this form, and also I have got a very special service for you. So the Matsya avatar, or the fish, he reveals to Satyavrat Maharaj that in a matter of 7 days, after 7 days, what will happen? A devastation will take place. And he tells that all the 3 worlds will be destroyed with water. But you don't worry. What will happen? I have got a service for you. You be ready with all the herbs, different types of herbs, seeds, creatures, living beings. And along with the 7 great rishis, the Sapt rishis, you board a boat. When this devastation is taking place, when everything will be filled with water, at that time, a large boat will come to you, and along with all these creatures, the herbs, the seeds, the different living entities, and the Saptarishis, you get onto this ship, onto this boat, and I will be there to protect you. And the fish says that I will also come as a huge fish. And at that time, what you do is you tie this boat to my horn with the help of the snake Vasuki. Use the Vasuki snake as a rope, and I will protect you. Don't worry. So with this message to Satyavrat Maharaj, the fish disappears from the scene, and Satyavrat Maharaj sits there waiting 7 days, and he meditates on the Lord's avatar or form as the fish, and on his instructions, that what the fish or the Matsya avatar wants from Satyavrat Maharaj. And when the proper time comes after 7 days, he sees that yes, the entire earth, entire planetary systems are getting flooded with water. And as promised by the Lord, a huge boat comes there. And Satyavrat Maharaj, what he does is that along with the Saptarishis and all the different seeds and herbs and living entities, he gets onto this boat and he ties this boat to the horn of the fish. Another very beautiful, very long golden fish also appears. It is described that this fish was 8 million miles long. That was the huge length of the Matsya avatar. So the king ties this boat to the horn of the fish with the help of Vasuki's snake. And then throughout, during the time of devastation as it is taking place, the king, along with the Saptarishis and different entities on the boat, they travel along with the Matsya avatar in the waters of inundation. And at that time, the Lord Vishnu, in the form of Matsya, he delivers different instructions and advices and reveals the knowledge of Vedas to Satyavrat Maharaj and to the Saptarishis. And this, whatever discourse or what happens or whatever knowledge is revealed by Lord Vishnu as Matsya avatar to King Satyavrat and to the different sages, becomes as Matsya Puran. So this is described in detail in Matsya Puran, whatever conversation takes place and what all different instructions the Matsya avatar used to Satyavrat Muni. In essence, what is described in Bhagavatam, like very briefly, Shukdev Goswami mentions to Parikshit Maharaj that the Matsya avatar describes to Satyavrat Muni about the creation. How does the creation of this material world takes place? How does the maintenance of this world takes place? And how does the destruction of the world takes place? And Satyavrat Muni himself was a personal witness to this devastation lila, or the destruction lila of the material world of the Lord. So this, the Matsya avatar describes, and then this Satyavrat Maharaj, in his next life, what he does is that he continues as, he becomes the son of the sun god Vivasvan, and he gets the name Vaivasvat Manu. So he becomes the next Manu. Satyavrat Maharaj becomes the next Manu by the name Vaivasvat Manu as the son of the sun god Vivasvan. So this is how briefly Shukdev Goswami is describing the life of Satyavrat Maharaj and the Matsya avatar in Srimad Bhagavatam. So as I was reading, I was reflecting upon few points on this, came to my mind, which I would like to share. So first point, as we were saying, that we were comparing it with Lord Varan. So sometimes the Lord incarnates with different purposes, sometimes just to reveal that particular pastime to some particular devotee. So like how the Lord already incarnated as Matsya avatar in Swayambhuva Manu's time to save the Vedas from Haigriv demon and restore it back to Brahma. And then he incarnates again and he creates a special devastation to show favor to his devotee Satyavrat Muni. Similarly, we saw how Lord Varaha incarnation also happened two times. And very interestingly, in the same Swayambhuva Manu and Chakshusha Manu's reigns only. And then we see also in like the south, when we go to Andhra Pradesh, Narsimha Kshetra. So there we see this Ahobalam and all these different pastimes where the pastimes of Lord Narsimha Dev took place. So we were discussing that how the Lord can happen, how this Narsimha Dev pastime took place on this planet Earth. It is not possible. I mean, physically or whatever, logically speaking. So then one devotee explained to us that it is not that the physical pastimes or the original pastimes took place here, but what happened that when Narsimha Dev pastime took place, Narsimha Dev came out of pillar. So normally wherever Vishnu goes, Garuda is there with him and he witnesses so many pastimes of the Lord. But in this particular pastime, Garuda was not there with Narsimha Dev. So Garuda wanted to have the darshan of Narsimha Dev. So he requested the Lord that, Lord, I want to witness your Narsimha Dev pastime. And then the Lord manifested the entire Leela in a nutshell. And that's how you have that Ugra Stham and Jwala Narsimha and all those. And Garudji exclaims that Ahobalam, like what a bal, what a strength. So that's how this particular place or Tirthistals are there for Lord Narsimha Dev. So then again, another thing which we see is Varaha. If we see, he came out of Brahmaji's nostril as a very small insect, in fact. And Brahmaji was wondering, who is this insect? And then in a matter of seconds, this small insect took up a huge form, filling up the entire sky. And then he roared, he made a loud noise before jumping into the water of the ocean. So at that time, all the sages, and including Brahmaji, they understood that yes, this is the Supreme Lord himself. And they were very happy to see the Lord's form. So similarly here we see that the Matsya avatar is actually incarnated as a small fish, and then it starts growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And Satyavrat Muni, he was wondering, who is this small fish? Then she starts speaking, then she suddenly shows her power becoming big and big and big. And then Satyavrat Muni realizes that yes, this is not an ordinary person. This must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So many times we get bewildered by the Lord's activities. Then we see that as regarding how Satyavrat Maharaj wanted to give shelter. So it is described in Bhagavatam that Satyavrat Maharaj, when he first decides to give shelter to that small fish who is there in the his palms, he feels pleased to himself. It is written. Means as a Kshatriya, sometimes you feel pride, like, that, okay, I can give protection to someone. But actually who can? And the end, what happens? He ends up taking shelter of the Lord. Initially, the Lord as a small fish is taking shelter of Satyavrat Maharaj. But finally, Satyavrat Maharaj ends up taking shelter of the Lord as Matsya Avatar. So similarly, we see in the pastime of Vaman Dev and Bali Maharaj. Vaman Dev, he goes as a small boy to the arena where Bali Maharaj was performing tapasya and yajna. And he asked for a small piece of land, 3 steps of land. So Vaman Dev, Bali Maharaj also feels, what is this 3 steps? I can very easily give this 3 steps to, what is this? But then in a matter of time, Vaman Dev, he reveals himself. He grows big, and in 2 steps he covers practically the entire planetary systems. And he asks, where should I place my 3rd step? So, and Bali Maharaj realizes that to that person who came as a small boy, and he thought he can very easily give this 3 steps of land. Now he goes and surrenders unto Vaman Dev. So this is like very interesting. Sometimes we feel that, okay, we can give shelter, we can do this, we can do that. But ultimately we realize that our ultimate protection and our ultimate shelter is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is actually pleased by our devotional service. He wants to see that what devotional service we are doing. Or say, we see in the example of Govardhan pastime also. When all the Brajvasis, they were offering, the Annakutta festival was happening. They were offering bhogas to Govardhan Giriraj. Giriraj kept on eating everything, whatever was offered. Practically all the surrounding villages, every house, shop, everything was empty. Everything was offered to Govardhan. But still, Govardhan was telling Anyor, give me more, give me more. So what we can give to the Lord actually? We cannot give to the Lord anything because everything belongs to the Lord. So then finally this Brajbasis, what they do is they offer Tulsi Ji to Govardhan. So in short, basically, the Lord is pleased by our devotional service, not by our external efforts. And that is very, very important. Or as we see in the case of Srila Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan De, he gives a very famous statement. I don't know in what context he was talking, but he says that when the Lord wants to give, with his 10 hands he will give, and how much we can hold with our 2 little hands. And when the Lord wants to take away something from us, how much we can hold with our 2 little hands, and even he is taking with his 10 hands. So ultimately, we take shelter of the Lord. Okay. So another thought when I was reading this pastime came to my mind, was the Leela of this devastation which is taking place. So Satyavrat Maharaj, he experiences this devastation Leela, and I briefly narrated in a very, very short manner. And of course, Shukdev Goswami also writes in just 1 or 2 shlokas that how this entire world starts. I mean, suddenly there are huge clouds in the sky, dark black clouds. They start pouring incessant rains. And it is described that what kind of rains was this. This was like pillars of water were falling from the sky. And in a matter of time, the entire world is inundated with water. So, of course, we can just read in 3-4 sentences, but if we try to imagine what must be the situation, it is actually a very, very horrifying experience. To see the devastation, to see everything getting destroyed, it is not a, what to say, not just a simple horror movie of what I can say, but it's a very, very horrible, it can be a very, very horrible experience if you are not a devotee of the Lord. So that is something which we can also meditate upon this. And what was the reaction of Satyavrat Maharaj? So Satyavrat Maharaj, he came to know that after 7 days, there will be devastation, but he didn't become morose. And he didn't panic. He knew that, okay, the Lord is there. He has taken his full shelter and the Lord will be there to protect him. He simply focused on his service. The Lord had instructed him with a particular service of gathering the Saptarishis and all the different herbs and living entities and to do a particular thing. So although it was very, very difficult in one sense to experience the entire devastation, but Satyavrat Muni was ready for the pleasure of the Lord. He was ready to go through any amount of hardships. So that is another lesson which we can learn from his life, that no matter how difficult the devotional service might sound, but still we should be willing to make an effort. And ultimately, of course, as we know, that we can only desire and we can only make an effort. But ultimately, the mercy has to come from Guru and Gauranga. And they say that actually when you get an instruction for some service, the empowerment also comes. So we should be simply willing wholeheartedly to do any particular service which are asked for, and the empowerment will come simply from Guru and Gauranga. So that is another point. So at this point, I would like you to compare Satyavrat Muni's experience of devastation with another great Rishi's experience of devastation. And that was Markandeya Rishi. So, of course, we cannot compare in one sense that both are great souls, great devotees. Markandeya Rishi is also a great devotee of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. So, we are not trying to say that one is lesser or one is greater, but just from our understanding point of view, from our practical learning point of view, what we can learn, some things can be analyzed, not as an offense to the great souls, but just simply from that particular pastime, what we can learn as a sadhaka. So Markandeya Rishi, we all know that he is a great devotee of Shiva and Vishnuji also. So he also wanted to experience the devastation. He didn't want to, I am not sure exactly the full details. In some places it is described that he wanted to see the devastation Leela, and he requests Nar Narayan Rishi, when he gets darshan of Nar Narayan Rishi, he requests him to please show me the devastation Leela. That is one version mentioned somewhere. And another version which I have read is, of course, Markandeya Muni, as we know that he is one of the Sapta Chiranjeevis. And he has got a boon that he will live for 7 kalpas. So obviously when he's living for 7 kalpas, he will see so many devastations in his lifetime. So as I was telling, to experience devastation is not an simple thing. It can be a very, very difficult experience. So Markandeya Rishi also, when he experienced the same devastation, he saw that there was a huge, in this devastation Leela is also described in Bhagavatam to a certain extent, that how a huge fire engulfs all the planetary systems, and then there is so much of rains for months and months, and it's like again pillars of rains are falling from the sky, and there are hailstorms are there, and so many problems which are happening. So what happens is Markandeya Rishi also experiences all these things, and he is just floating and floating for years and years and years. We cannot just imagine of time in water, because everywhere there is water, there is no land. And it is described that Markandeya Rishi feels very thirsty and he feels hungry. Of course, no sleep, no food, no water, nothing to rest. And he's just, fully tired and exhausted. And then suddenly, of course, after going through this experience, after years and years and years of years, then suddenly he sees a piece of land and he sees a beautiful Akshavat there. And there he sees on a leaf, a beautiful child is there sucking his thumb. And he hears this voice that Markandeya, please come here and you can rest here. So this beautiful piece of land is actually described as Jagannath Puri. So Sri Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham, it is said that that is not destroyed even when the 3 worlds are destroyed, and it is an eternal place. And Lord Krishna himself was there on this Akshay Vrat. This beautiful leaf, this beautiful child was there sucking his thumb, sucking his toe. And he gives this beautiful darshan to Markandeya Rishi. He asks Markandeya Rishi, please enter into mouth and you can rest there peacefully. And when Markandeya Rishi enters the mouth of this child, he sees the entire planetary systems and creation and maintenance and destruction, everything. And then of course he comes out. So that was one experience of Markandeya Rishi. So I wanted to compare this experience of Markandeya Rishi from our learning point of view with that of Satyavrat Muni. So what was the difference? There Markandeya Rishi was all alone and he was just experiencing devastation, and he was experiences out of so much of great pain in one sense. He was exhausted. But here Satyavrat Maharaj, if we see, he also experienced the devastation, but he was very, very peaceful. Why? So we saw that there was a huge boat which Satyavrat Muni had, and there were Saptrishis which were there, and this Vasuki rope was there. So if we see, so how can we compare this thing? So actually, if we see this boat, it is like Lord's shelter, the Lord's mercy which he has. The Lord is there as Matsya Avatar, the Vasuki, the rope is there, and the boat is there. The boat is like the Lord's shelter, and it is like the association of devotees. Satyavrat Maharaj was there in the association of the Saptrishis. And it is described that there was entire full darkness during that devastation which was happening. Obviously, even the sun and the moon were not there. And the only light which was there was the effulgence of the Saptrishis. So the association of the devotees, their instructions, the discussions of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is like our boat or our shelter which is there, which we should all take shelter of. And Satyavrat Maharaj also took such shelter. And then what happens is that without the rope of Vasuki, what would have happened? Although the Lord is there, but still the boat would have been tossing around in the waves, because there are huge waves and the boat would obviously get tossed. So even if we are in the shelter of the devotees, we should have a proper anchor which connects us with the Supreme Lord. So here with Vasuki rope, I felt that it signifies the connection of ours with the Lord through the medium of the spiritual master. So Guru or Srila Prabhupada, as we can say in our society. So he is the connection for us to the Supreme Lord. So Satyavrat Maharaj, again, although he was in the association of the devotees in the boat, he was protected from tossing by this snake of Vasuki. And he was connecting them to the Supreme Lord Matsya Avatar. So similarly, as in association of devotees also, sometimes we can get bewildered, we can get tossed by so many different philosophies, different conceptions. And this is Kali Yuga, as we all know. So many dilutions, so many diversions will keep on happening. Even from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, we have seen that so many diversions have taken place and so many up-sampradayas have happened. So it is very important that although we are an association of devotees, we should also be properly anchored to the Supreme Lord via the medium of a pure devotee. Can be our respective gurus, or it can be Srila Prabhupada in general for our ISKCON society. So that proper connection is also very, very much required. So this was sort of a comparison between Satyavrat Muni's and Markandeya Muni's experience of devastation. In briefly, I would like to speak for another 5 to 10 minutes, then we will end the class. I think time is getting up. So another thing which I was recollecting was even Arjuna, he was experiencing a devastation, not the kind of devastation which pralaya which happens at the end of kalpas or this thing, but when he saw the universal form of the Lord, he requested that he wants to see the universal form of the Lord, and the Lord showed him the Vishnu. But when Arjuna saw that practically everybody is getting devoured, everybody is just rushing into the mouth of the Supreme Lord, and everybody is getting crushed and devoured. So it was like a devastation in one sense. And Arjuna was horrified. He was very pleasantly situated along with Krishna. He wanted to see this. And as I was telling, that devastation is not a very pleasant experience. So he was also horrified, and then he requested to Lord that please, I want to see again your beautiful Shyam Sundar form. So we should also learn from all these things that the Lord has given us an opportunity. He is giving us an opportunity. Either we take shelter of him as Shyam Sundar and serve him and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So as Bhakti is described as Tu Sukham Kartum Avyayam, it is very, very pleasant path, and very easily you can achieve the shelter of the Lord. But if we don't do this, then what will happen? Then we will have to face a devastation. So devastation, it can be like we are surviving and we are seeing the devastation of the entire world, or it can be the other way, the entire world is still there, but we are facing the devastation of our own body. Either way, it's a devastation. It's like the end of our connection with this world. So all of us will also witness the devastation Leela. Either we will witness the universal devastation if we don't go back to Krishna in this lifetime, or because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is going to last only for few years, 10,000 years, golden years is this age of Kali Yuga, and after that Ghor Kali Yuga is going to start. So it is our choice that we take bhakti seriously and we go back. Otherwise, probably we'll be survived to see the devastation Leela of the Lord, the pralaya, and like the other devotees, this one. But that would not be very pleasant. And even if that not a personal devastation, also will keep on seeing in every lifetime when death comes to us. So like when death comes to us, that also is sort of a devastation for us because our connection with the world is ending. So that one also will not be very pleasant. So it's better that we take our life seriously, bhakti seriously. And like how Satyavrat Maharaj, he focused on the instructions of the Lord. He was not afraid of the devastation. He was not afraid of the consequences, but he simply focused on the service to the Lord, and in the association of the devotees, he fulfilled whatever the Lord wanted from him. So similarly, like in the Govardhan pastime, the Brajvasis also, they faced sort of devastation only. When Indra becomes very angry and he is sending the Samvartaka clouds, which are actually used at the time of devastation. And they are again, it is described, the kind of rain which they poured was like pillars of rains which are falling from the sky. And the entire area was getting flooded and devastated, sort of happening. And there were thunderstorms and everything, as if it was the time for full devastation. But what the Brajvasis they did, the Brajvasis, they simply rushed to Krishna, 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 Mahabaho. They took shelter of Krishna, and it was a beautiful, beautiful pastime for them. For the 7 days and 7 nights continuously, they sort of enjoyed, had a pleasure, had a loving reciprocation pastimes with Krishna. The different Brajvasis, different devotees, whatever they had their desires, different rasas, they could reciprocate with Krishna in that particular pastime. So it was a beautiful, beautiful pastime which took place. So this we can learn from the life of Satyavrat Maharaj, that yes, we all will also face this devastation, and we should take bhakti seriously and take shelter of Krishna seriously and try to serve the Supreme Lord in connection with our spiritual masters in connection with other pure devotees, and take full shelter of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is described that this Satyavrat Muni, he is also like he writes this beautiful Damodar Ashtakam. We all know that we all sing every Kartik. We are singing Damodar Ashtakam. In Padma Puran, it is described. So this is written by Satyavrat Muni. So another thought which came to my reflection was that Satyavrat Maharaj, he experienced the Matsya avatar of the Lord, which basically focused on the creation, maintenance, and destruction. And the same Satyavrat Maharaj is also describing the beautiful Damodar pastime of the Lord as a small little boy in Vrindavan. So it is not that one Leela of Lord is less important, another Leela of Lord is more important. Of course, at a theoretical level, sometimes those differentiations and gradings are there. But at a practical level, the Lord, whatever incarnations it takes place, they are all Divya. They are all transcendental. Whether he incarnates as a Matsya or Vara or a Kurma or a Shyam Sundar form, in one sense, there is no difference because he is the same supreme transcendental Lord. And whatever Leelas are there, it is not that we have to focus only on the Braj pastimes of the Lord. Before we focus on the Braj pastimes of the Lord, in fact, we should be focused with the creative pastimes of the Lord. That's why in the Bhagavatam, if we see initially, so much of creation is described, destruction is described, and then slowly when we are purified by hearing such pastimes of the Lord, by understanding the greatness of the Lord, then we can understand who this Supreme Lord is, then we can experience and relish the Braj pastimes of the Lord. So that is another thing which we should learn from Satyavrat Maharaj. So now I would just like to end by reading first verse of Jaydev Goswami's Dasha Avatar, glorifying the Matsya Avatar. Pralaya payodhi jale dhritavan sivedam vihita vahitra chamakhedam keshavadhrita meena sharira jai jagadish hare jaya jagadish hare jai jagadish hare pralaya payodhi jale dhritavan sivedam vihita vahitra charitramakhedam keshavadhrita meena sharira jai jagadish hare jaya jagadish hare jai jagadish hare jai Matsya Avatar ki jai, Satyavrat Maharaj ki jai. Thank you all, and please forgive me if knowingly or unknowingly I have committed any offenses or didn't meet your expectations.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, class was very wonderful. We will ask if there are any questions, then we will exit. Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Please welcome, are welcome, and Prabhu will clarify you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji means I just want to ask a question that Satyavrata Muni took, there was, the Lord said 7 days there will be devastation, and he meditated on the Lord. So similarly means from this pastime we can ourselves relate that death is one ultimate answer, and before that we should meditate. We can take an analogy of that to understand. Means it would be correct. Prabhuji, you can explain
Yeah,
that
it
too.
is definitely correct. As I was telling that all of us will face the devastation, Leela. Either the pralaya devastation if we don't go back to Godhead, or even in this lifetime or every lifetime till that time we will be facing when the death is like a devastation, Leela, for us. Our connection with the world would be ending. So yes, we have to focus on the Lord's instructions which are there in Vedas, and as Prabhupada is described in verse 61st, which we read today, that with the essence of Vedas is Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says that the Vedeshta Sarverahamev Vedyam. So like we should be focusing on the instructions the Lord gives in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and prepare ourselves for this. So if we make ourselves in the time, qualify ourselves, then the experience of devastation will be very, very smooth. It will not be horrifying. Like Satyavrat Muni, he was very pleasantly situated, comfortably situated. Difficult, but yes, still comfortable in one sense, in the shelter of the boat, association of devotees, and receiving the Lord's instructions. So we all hope and pray that yes, even at our, when it is for time for us to leave our bodies, we get the association of devotees, we get to hear Bhagavatam, or we get to hear the Lord's holy name, and then we can peacefully leave the body. So it's our hope and prayers that hopefully this will happen.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Wonderful class.
Ravipati Prabhu, you can stop the recording. And also a humble request.